I moved in with like bigger creators than me.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like my views to keep. When I was at the creator house, my views jumped from like 50 to 60,000 to like 200,000 constantly. When I was getting views like that, it didn't really change how I thought about YouTube or anything.
But this is working. People are watching.
Right. That day in the life of a software engineer video, I didn't really enjoy making it. It's just more like, this will get views. Ooh, if things are stale, is it my life or should I just, is it just my city? Like, should I do something crazy right now?
You actually left and moved into your own studio.
All that went away. Like, I felt like I was working towards something that wasn't just like a day-to-day clocking out.
What changes do you want to make for 2024?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think definitely.
Last year, Jedcal was crushing it on YouTube. Living together with friends like Kelly Wakasa and urmomashley, he was getting hundreds of thousands of views per vlog, but he wasn't happy. He felt burned out because Jed sees content as a small part of the broader life he wants to live, not the main focus where he'd feel pressure to chase views. Beyond content, Jed is an entrepreneur who founded and runs his own company, a software engineer, a gym rat. And today he shares with me how he balances content with everything else in his life, why he never wants to be like MrBeast, and how he got started in YouTube with friends like Sean Rizwan and Elliot Choi. And if you enjoy the podcast, we're launching a creator newsletter all about stories like these, industry news, and how to improve as a creator. It's free if you sign up in the next 90 days via the link in description below. Jed, thanks so much for making time today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. It's really exciting.
The first thing I've noticed looking at your recent content is you are getting incredibly jacked.
Oh, wow, thank you. I've been working hard. I wanted to look like you know?
Oh, thank you. I think the cool thing when you put in work and discipline to build it yourself up, it's subtle. You know, you don't want to flex too much. Like you're wearing the baggiest.
Yeah, all my clothes are, sleeper bills,
Because then when you take it off, it's like, boom.
Right, yeah.
I mean, in your recent video, I think you gained, how much was it like?
Around Halloween, I was like 147 pounds. I'm like 6 feet. And now I'm like 165.
And you're 6 feet?
Yeah.
If I took out a ruler right now and I measured you swear to God, 6 foot.
Yes.
Can I see your driver's license?
Yeah, that's at 6 feet too.
Damn, you're tall.
You don't believe me? Actually, what does it say? Does it say 6?
It says 6 foot.
Okay, that's
all right, if the government says so, then it's legitimate.
Let's go.
I'm glad. I was going to say, I don't want to have to expose you here today.
Like those TikToks, like, can I prove it?
It's like 5'11". I'm like, I don't know, man. That inch is a big difference. What motivated you to suddenly get into such good shape?
I did a 30-day transformation video, and I launched that in like November. For the past like 4 years, I've been going to the gym like 4 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
But there was like a 6-month span in 2023 where I didn't work out at all. Lost a lot of weight. Because I have a high metabolism where if I don't work out, I'll lose weight. When I came back to New York from vacation, I was like, all right, day one, let's do a 30-day challenge.
In terms of your fitness journey, how this got started and your more recent decision to double down, who hurt you, Jed?
No, I've always been into fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I just got to a point where like, whoa, I'm like under 150. Like at 6 feet, that's getting like a little bit
right.
Yeah.
It's getting a little skinny.
Yeah.
There's a joke where I feel like guys, right? Like we spend so much time lifting heavy weights to trick our body into thinking that it really needs to.
Yeah.
The hope, at least for me and for many others, that like, oh, folks of the opposite gender will appreciate it. In fact, what you actually get is men going, yo, drop the routine.
It's the guys.
It's like, that is some nice vascularity.
I find like the girls, they just want like leaner bodies.
Yeah. But
which makes sense.
Still do it though, because I do think, to my previous point on who hurt you, I love the discipline it puts into you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's like, even yesterday night, actually, I was working out in my studio and I've had a really rough week. I've been really, really tired. And I was like, damn, everything kind of feels like it's falling apart. But as long as I get my workout in, I can still say I'm a guy with conviction. A guy who can follow through on what he wants to do.
Yeah, for sure. I feel that. I generally look forward to going to the gym every day.
Yeah. It's been a huge part of your content, to your point. Like throughout the years, you always have a moment where you're going, you're doing different types of things. It kind of reminds me, I saw last year, Colin and Samir called you a casual creator.
Yeah, that was interesting. I just got a notification email and that was the headline. They didn't even tell me that they were going to write about me.
Put your photo right there, big and center.
That was interesting. Casual creator.
What does that mean? Because at least to my untrained ears, I'm like, I want to be taken seriously. I don't want someone to call me casual, a lightweight.
Right. I made a few videos in 2019. That's when I really started. And then 2021, I started posting weekly. And by the time it came to 2023, I was feeling a little burnt out. That in some of my vlogs, I was saying, I think I want to get a software engineering job. I think that would really help with, as a lifestyle creator, that you actually have something that you're working towards. And I started my YouTube channel making some software engineering videos.
Yeah.
So I'd say like maybe half my audience are probably CS majors. So the idea of going back into a software engineering job and doing YouTube on the side would not only like, the audience would probably like it, and also I think it would bring the passion back to making videos. So I think that's where the term casual creator came from.
In the sense that you're not 24/7, all I'm doing is content.
Right. Like it's now my part-time job coming from a like full-time.
Especially because, to your point, a lot of your viewers came initially of your work as an engineer.
That day in the life of a software engineer video, I didn't really enjoy making it. It's just more like, this will get views. The first one I enjoyed because it was new, but everything after that was just like, all right, this is for views now, because that gets really draining fast.
What do you mean by draining?
If I'm going to do a vlog today, which I am today,
Nice.
it's like, you're going to think about that. Like, what's the next shot? Like, I'm always like editing in my mind throughout the day. Like, is this going to be B-roll? I've decided before coming in, like, this is going to be more of a B-roll thing. So I'm in my mind, I just have a system in my head where like, you just start thinking about what's going to be in the video.
You have to plan out what you're going to show about your life as you're living it.
Yeah. I'm a little different in that way. I know a lot of people who it takes them like 20 plus hours to edit a video. It only takes me like 3 to 4 hours.
Wow.
But I film very intentionally. Like I'll film a clip. So I pretty much use like 90% of my clips and it goes straight to the timeline and it's all just ready to go.
Like, what's the story as you're constructing the vlog in your head?
Sometimes there's a story. If I do like a trend, like what I eat in a day. But sometimes this is why, like, sometimes I'm like, do people want to see this? I don't know.
And then you get like 50,000 plus views. Like, okay, I guess they did.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like a weird thing. But yeah, throughout the day, I'm kind of editing as I go. And I think that's really helped my editing process.
But at the cost of potentially sanity and mental health.
But in a weird way, I also enjoy it because I like making videos. Like, I like to focus, especially when I travel, I do this more, but I do a lot of like cinematography. Maybe more so, what's probably the most draining thing is like coming up with what to make next. I think that's the biggest bottleneck that I have. Everything else, like the filming, the planning, if I have the idea ready, then I enjoy it. Yeah.
Are there times where you're like, hey, here's like a fun thing I could do and it'll give me content?
Yeah.
Or like, here's something I could do, but I don't know if it'll provide me with any B-roll.
Yeah, I think about that all the time. It's just little micro decisions day to day. Yeah, and I think every one of my lifestyle creator friends go through the same thing.
Yeah, it's hard.
Lifestyle vlogger friends. The ones that aren't like idea-based, from Colin Samir.
Right. Idea-based versus personality-based.
Yeah, exactly.
And I suppose then you're more of a personality-based creator.
Yeah, like for sure, yeah.
I remember when I spoke with Ashley, your mom, Ashley, she said like, in some ways it's so much easier when there's like transitions in your life. Like you're moving into a new apartment, like you're moving to a new job, a new place. Like that's the easiest. What's really hard is if like there's nothing happening.
It's like in a TV show that indicates a new season, like they move to another city or there's like a new love interest. That's why I feel the pressure like, ooh, if things are stale, is it my life or is it just my city? Like, should I do something crazy right now?
Yeah, it's like, am I just boring?
Yeah.
Do people not want to watch me?
Well, realistically, like everyone is living the same life. Like everyone gets food, works.
Yeah.
After work, they'll watch shows. It's just like the task of like the lifestyle creator to make it seem like things are so much more fascinating, but it really isn't. Like, all these lifestyle creators, they're just at home editing.
From what I watch via your videos, you have successfully convinced me that your life is f***ing amazing. Like literally, right? Your fitness transformation. That's the first thing I asked about. You're like, yeah, I just decided to get like incredibly jacked this year. I was like, whoa, like what? It's
like viewers discretion advised. Like you have to watch knowing that you edited something with nice music, inspirational music. But it's not all that great. Like I actually don't, maybe because of the transition was so slow. Like I didn't have a viral video. None of my videos went over 900,000 since, like it's like the software engineer video has 900,000 views. The next one has like 400,000. And most of my videos though are just like 50 to 100. Like it's been like that for like 3 years.
You have a steady base of people who just want to watch your life.
Like when I was at the house, the creator house, my views jumped from like 50 to 60,000 average per video to like 200,000 or like 150,000 constantly. But even then, when I was getting views like that, it didn't really change how I thought about YouTube or anything.
So you didn't feel different?
No, I did not feel different. My perspective on that was like, I moved in with like bigger creators than me.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like my views to keep. It was just more like they're gifted to me.
So when you did make that decision to scale back on content, why also move?
I think when you're feeling burnout and you live in a house with a lot of creators where the plan is like you're always filming videos together, it's just hard to like successfully go through like a break period from burnout.
Especially
because I was also in their videos a lot. Like,
right.
you know, it's like, let's meet Thursday, we do this video, or Luke's channel, let's meet Tuesday, we'll do this video. And I think I just wanted to take a step back and maybe go back into software engineering for a bit and like find the true passion that I originally had for filming.
Makes
like
sense.
on my own. That's pretty much what it was.
Do you consider yourself to have good balance in your life right now?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I'm as like work and money driven as than I probably could be.
What do you mean?
Like
by
if
that?
I wanted to make a lot of money, then I would be grinding certain content. But I think I prioritize just like other things equally as much as like money, power, or whatever. Right.
If you did just want to grind for money, how would your content change?
That's true. Like you could make a living from like a lot of ways on YouTube. Like interviews are quick. Like you could do interviews, idea-based content. You could do the trends. Like you could really milk it.
Like I built 100 puppy dog houses.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Literally like that. And like anyone could do it.
This is like the dark side. If like all you cared about was money. And to your point on anyone could do it, it reminds me, there's a clip out there where MrBeast talks about how he actually minimizes his own personality in his videos.
Interesting.
Like he's almost like a stand-in, this like platonic ideal of a charitable man that anyone can project their personality into. Funny. And he said that because the more personality you show in a way, the more you might like turn people off. Like if everyone knows you're like, I don't know, really into football, like what if you watch and you're just not into football? He's like talking about it. You're like, I want to tune out.
Yeah.
Instead of get like over 100 million views, you actually want to just focus on, here's the stunt. Like focus on the thing that I'm doing, which we all think is cool. Like surviving 100 days in a grocery store. Everyone thinks that's neat.
Yeah.
My personality actually only gets a little bit in the way.
Exactly.
And so he's almost like game show host. You might have seen, he just announced today at Via Colin and Samir, in his $100 million plus Amazon deal, he's now hosting a reality game competition show.
Wow.
That's going to pay out apparently more in cash prizes than any other show has done to date ever. That's like the ultimate evolution of MrBeast.
That is crazy.
And it's interesting because it's almost so opposite what you do. Your work, I mean, what you just described, it's so tied to your personality, to your life.
Right.
You don't necessarily want to change your content because your content's your life. That would mean changing your life just for the views. So you don't really get tons of like super viral videos, but you just have this constant base of Jed viewers who tune in and just watch.
Exactly. It just depends what your goals are on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because going viral is great too. Like when you do personality content, you're not casting a wide net. Like I have mostly guys following me, mostly 18 to 30. It's just like you're casting a really small net with a real niche set of interests. But the people that do watch you, like like they're the ones that would like support you for So it's not good or bad. Like it just depends what you want to do.
What type of content would you be making if the views you could know guaranteed 1 million plus in every single video?
Like I would travel with friends, and I guess ultimately I would love to do Sam Colder type content because that was why I started doing videos in the first place.
Yeah.
But maybe with a mix of more talking and more personality, like more vlog style.
Oh, I love Sam. Sam actually is
one of the first I did see that.
And angels and Karat. Yeah. What's stopping you from throwing in a Sam Colder-esque video now? Like one every 5.
I just know that people don't really watch that. Only filmmakers watch filmmakers' content. Like the best filmmakers, I guess Sam is the exception because he's like a pioneer. But every other filmmaker who's like incredibly good, they're kind of just watching each other's content. It's like a
they're not
community bubble.
They're not getting appreciation from the broader audience.
No, not at all. Yeah.
When you do look at the content that you're making, what changes do you want to make for 2024?
Yeah, I guess that's the question, right? I think about this all the time. I don't know. I don't think YouTube is also endgame for me. I think ideally I'm at a place like later 20s where I'm making YouTube videos in general still, you know, taking photos, making videos, but it's like not my main source of income. And I do it just because it's fun and I don't have to take as many brand deals. And I'm working on something that's more like, you know, entrepreneurship, like a tech startup, something like that. We'll see.
Now, I remember, I mean, going back to your earlier point, why Colin Samir called you the casual creator.
Yeah.
It's because you explicitly announced like, hey, I don't want to do full-time YouTube anymore.
Right.
I know you've shared in your videos you want, as a goal, half your income to come from not YouTube. You decided to double down on your own company, Rate My Dorm.
Yes, I did. So, so Rate My Dorm is like a college dorm review website. It's a play on Rate My Professors. In 2020, I bought the domain name ratemydorm.com from a private seller. It turns out it was the founder of Rate My Professors. I just bought it from him privately, and he was like,
wow.
yeah, I was going to do this too.
And he's like, never mind.
Yeah, I was too busy.
Does he like make a good living from Rate My Professor?
He sold that company to like Viacom.
Wow.
Which is like, the building is like right here. But
so he probably made a bag.
That gave me peace of mind. And when he sold it to me, he was like, yeah, you could probably find a seller if you do this right.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, all right.
Can I ask, how much did you pay for it?
I bought Rate My Dorm and ratemydorms.com.
Yeah.
Negotiated both to 2.5K.
Oh, that seems like
nothing.
Really great.
I think
price.
That's nothing. Yeah.
Wait, that's like very, very minimal.
His original price was like 10,000 per.
Like, how did you find this opportunity? Was it a cold DM?
I thought of Rate My Dorm, the idea, since like freshman year of college. It wasn't until like I graduated, I was like, oh, nice, maybe I could work on this. No, I went on ratemydorm.com and said, this domain is for sale.
And it said, hey, this is the guy who has it.
No, it wasn't until after I bought it. I was privately messaging on emails, and he was like, by the way, after I did the purchase, I founded Rate My Professors.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so you have had this domain for years.
Mm-hmm.
What's the dream with it? Because in 2020, right, that's almost in the beginning of your content career as well.
So lockdown, pre-YouTube, I worked on it. I made a version 1 of the site. It did pretty good. I got like 1,000 reviews from I got really good feedback from like Reddit groups, but I wasn't doing YouTube. It wasn't until I quit my job, I like brought back the idea of Rate My Dorm again, because I didn't work on it at all after that. So I was like, okay, I'll do weekly content. I'll rebuild Rate My Dorm, but this time with the audience. Like, I'll rebuild it better because I'm a better programmer now. Yeah, it's been doing pretty good. It also not only helped me like working on something that's coding, but it also like gave me content.
Yeah.
Like for my audience that's coding related. So,
but I remember you did a video like 6-7 months ago, if I remember correctly, where like, this is the last Rate My Dorm video.
Right. Well, I just think now like you can only make so many videos about something like Rate My Dorm. Ultimately, it's just like leave a review, and
it's like, please use it.
Yeah,
thanks.
It gets like last summer when I first launched it, it was getting like 50,000 to 60,000 like organic clicks from Google search.
That's a lot of people.
Like people typing in like best dorms in Purdue, and it'll be like top ranked. So like, the SEO has been really good.
Wow.
So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like this summer, but ultimately it's just an ad-based model website.
So like, how much do you get in a month from Rate My Dorm?
It's off season, but from 50,000 clicks last year, it would be like $400 to $500, something like that.
You're right. That's like one video AdSense.
Yeah, $400 to $500 is probably like 100,000 for my CPM. Would be like for a video that's less than 8 minutes, meaning one ad.
Yeah,
100,000 views. That'll probably be like $400.
Wow.
It's different if you go over 8 minutes, but I feel like my videos don't usually do that, which I realized I could. But wow, all that effort to make a website so like ad-based model websites are pretty tough.
So do you plan to grow it? Is it more a maintenance mode?
Yeah, like I currently have like brand ambassadors. Like I have college like interns, someone posting on like Reels, short forms, just like reposting dorm tours. So people are working on it, and it's just building underneath me, and I'm just not really thinking about it.
So then what is the focus? Because you described how you went really, really hard on content as a full-time creator, then got burned out, decided to move out, take a little bit of a break, focus on taking freelance software gigs, working on Rate My Dorm. And now it sounds like you're sort of refreshed on the content POV, and you're putting Rate My Dorm back into maintenance mode. Yeah. So you're kind of switching back and forth.
Life's always changing. My motivations are always changing. I remember going into the new year, I was thinking like, I don't think I want to do YouTube. That was my mindset. It's then since changed.
Oh, wait, what's changed?
Burnout over. It turns out a break is really, really nice. I think it was like pretty much the whole year of 2023.
Oh, all of 2023.
By December, recent December, I was like 2024. All right, I'm going to post weekly. I just had all these goals, and I've been hitting all of them, and I've been feeling good.
As you said, when you're a lifestyle vlogger, people are almost watching. It's like seasons of Jed.
I think I'm currently in my fitness season.
Ooh, so how would you title this arc?
Right. So it was
Jed
really
gets ripped.
So I'm really into fitness now.
Yeah.
Because I do get into these eras of different things that I'm into, different hobbies, and it really shows in the content. So I look back fall 2021. I'm like, oh, nice. I went to the skate park all the time, and it shows in my videos.
Yeah.
I used to think that like at that time, because I lived with Luke and Natalie, who were skaters. Like,
yeah. Natalie ex Pluto, right? And Luke,
she's like, they're skate creators. They're both. So I was always at the skate park with them. And in my mind, I was like, I should stop filming this. Like, no one cares about this. Huh. But in hindsight, it's like, oh, nice. Because that's going to end at some point. And it did end, and it's nice to look back on. Yeah.
What I love is this concept, because like YouTube is still new. Like, it's still relatively new. I'm just picturing like one day it's gonna be like 40-year-old Jed.
Oh,
and like
Casey Neistat.
Yeah, Casey Neistat. And
42.
and like we will get to see the evolution of your life across all these changes.
Yeah.
And you will get to go back and document and see what you were up to at each moment too.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Will I be? I don't know if I'll be doing YouTube like that past. Yeah, I think about this too. Like, at what point do you stop vlogging? Like, do you have a family content? Like, yes, I guess we'll see.
Wow.
We'll see.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want to have kids?
At what point do you stop? Yeah, for sure. Family, kids, like maybe like early 30s.
Yeah.
That gives you like 5 more years, but a lot can change.
The Jedcal family.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wild. If you were to meet Jed from 4, 5, 6 years ago, college era Jed.
Yeah.
What do you think he'd think of you now? Do you think he'd get along and want to be friends?
Yeah, I think in college, I was doing a lot of video making, but not YouTube vlogging. I didn't really get into that. I didn't even discover the world of vlogging until like 2019. Like I discovered Casey Neistat and watched all his videos after the fact. I didn't know who he was, but I was doing a lot of like cinematography, and the idea of doing like full-time creative work would have been like a crazy dream, because at the time I was studying to be a software engineer. So that it wasn't even the picture, just doing anything that's creative and not coding.
Honestly, I think you're one of those very rare unicorns that can both be a software engineer and a YouTuber. Like those are like really separate parts of your brain to be able to code something, but then also to be able to talk about it and to share your life and do something very cinematic. Why computer science?
I think in high school I watched the movie The Social Network.
Yeah.
I grew up playing chess a lot. So
aren't you like a 1900 chess rating or something absurd? Hi there. If you're enjoying the podcast and want to hear more creator stories like these, or you're a creator looking to level up and improve, or you just want to track everything happening in the news that affects you, like is TikTok being banned or not, I'm launching a newsletter that's all about creators and free for the next 90 days if you sign up via link below. Now back to the podcast.
So I grew up playing chess a lot. So
aren't you like a 1900 chess rating or something absurd?
So in Guam, I was in the Guam chess national team.
No way.
So I did a lot of like chess. Like my weeks were just like studying chess and like playing chess tournaments. And I found that like when I did like some coding the summer before college, it was like wiring my brain in the same way. Wow. Like the logic was, I found it quite similar, and it made me really like computer science like right off the get-go.
Wait, also 1900 is an absurdly high chess yield. If I remember correctly, Alexandra Botez is like around 2000.
Yeah.
Her sister Andrea Botez is like 1800.
Yeah.
You were ranked higher than Andrea, whose whole focus is chess content.
That was me in high school. She would definitely beat me now.
Fair.
I still play because I worked for chess.com as well. So that was my most recent full-time job. I play casually now, but like high school me would beat me now for sure.
When you were at chess.com, was it fun? Like, you actually get to enjoy it more because you like chess, or is it like, eh?
So I started playing on chess.com since I was like 11 years old.
Yeah.
So in COVID, I was looking for a new job. I just applied on chess.com on the app itself. I just DM'd the founder, gave me an interview right away, and then I got hired like pretty fast. And I thought it was the coolest thing. The first few months were really cool. It's just, this is sick. Like even after work, I was still playing on chess.com.
I kind of love that you DM'd the founder. When I first met you, my immediate thought is, this guy works so hard.
Really?
And is so willing to put yourself out there. What motivates you, right? Like you've put in so much work. Like when did you realize when you were in Guam, like you wanted to live a life that was a little bit different?
Well, thank you so much, first of all.
Yeah.
So when I was in like middle school, I was watching a lot of YouTube growing up. Like I watched all of Ryan Higa's videos, like everyone in that era. So in 7th grade, me and my closest friends, we made some YouTube videos. So I had like Smosh style skits, like 10 of them. So I think that's when it started, like the dream of YouTube first came to mind. But yeah, Guam is really small. Like, what do you know about Guam?
To my knowledge, I'm going to guess there's somewhere between 1,000 and 15,000 people who live there. How far off am I?
1,000? No, that's a little too little.
Okay, that's probably a little too small.
Yeah.
That's like a high school. Okay,
1,000 is a high school.
Not 1,000. How many people?
It's 150,000.
Okay, I was off by an order of magnitude.
Yeah, but
still very
the
small.
size is really small. So it's like a peanut shape. 33 miles by 7 miles. So my high school graduating class, we were about 100. Only like 10 of us went to the States for college. Most people stay on the island. Like maybe half my class were local Chamorros, which is like the indigenous people. They have family and land in Guam. They usually stay. But me, like I don't really have family in Guam, just my parents pretty much.
Yeah,
That's
why leave? You just said literally most of the folks just stay.
My sisters left first. I have 2 older sisters.
Yeah.
They both went to GW in DC. And so it was just me and my parents. So I knew I was next because I'm a lot younger than them.
And what do your parents do?
My dad opened a taekwondo school because my dad was like taekwondo, like national team of the Philippines. We moved to Guam, and that was 2001, and it's been like 23 years, something like that, and it's still going like to this day. So we run a taekwondo school back in Guam.
So you grew up basically in the taekwondo equivalent of a dojo.
Literally, like after school, me and my sisters were going to the taekwondo school. I'm like teaching the kids, like training the classes. That was like my 4 days a week growing up.
So I assume you must be like a black belt.
Yeah, I'm a 4th degree black belt.
Jed, you would be so good at chess boxing.
I thought about that. I was like, wow, this was made for me.
Literally. Okay. For those of you who don't know, chess boxing is where you alternate between rounds of trying to checkmate your opponent / beating the shit out of them in a boxing ring. And it's so recently popularized by Ludwig. I will say that I've always thought in my head that it's heavily biased toward good boxers. Like, hey, if I came into someone who's really good at chess, I think the pressure of knowing I'm going to get the shit beaten out of me next round would affect my play.
Oh, true.
But I feel like you could do it. You're 1900 plus in ELO. You are a 4th degree Taekwondo black belt. Why have you never tried this yet? We got to get you
Someone should hit me up. I think I would definitely do it, honestly.
So you saw your sisters leave Guam.
Yeah.
Said, okay, I want to do something as well that's off the island. You've been watching YouTube. Where did you end up in the States next?
I got into Boston University. 4 years there. Really nice city. I had a huge culture shock. When I go back to Guam now, I just think, wow, Guam is so small. You don't really think, it's just such a tiny bubble. And until you leave, it's just like, I can't really imagine living there again.
What were the biggest things you feel like that you've changed since leaving Guam? Or you've realized about yourself?
I guess there's just a lot of opportunity in the States, and it's hard to like make it. I do have one of my high school friends is currently in Guam, and he has a Faceless YouTube channel. And he has like sponsored by ESPN, like he's doing great stuff. But in general, like it would be hard to do YouTube like in Guam, like lifestyle content especially. And even with work, like software engineering careers, they don't really have that in Guam. What about myself? I don't know. I think I would like to think I'm mostly the same.
You mentioned that your friend is doing faceless content. You are very in your content.
Faceful content.
Yeah, faceful. You get the whole Jed experience.
Yeah.
What was the moment deciding to make that first video? What was it about?
I kind of like got into it a little slowly. In college, I started doing a lot of photography and like little travel montages. I was really inspired by Sam Kolder at the time. That content, the whole like cinematography was really fascinating to me.
Yeah.
So in high school, in college, I was posting on Instagram, like photos, like kind of like a photographer influencer. So by the time it was post-grad and I got into YouTube, like the idea of putting myself out there wasn't a big deal. It was just like, oh,
you're
nice.
like, well,
this is
of
next.
Course.
Yeah.
Yeah. The natural evolution.
Yeah.
And you mentioned in some ways, trying to ensure you have good content has motivated some of your life decisions.
Yeah.
In terms of like where you move, and that doing it with friends who are also in the vlog scene make it way, way, way easier.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're friends with so many people in the YouTube space. How did that start? I've
come to learn that everyone just knows everybody. And when you meet one, you just meet their friend, and you meet their friend, their parties, and you just, it starts with one. Like my first creator friends were Sean Rizwan and Elliot Choi. I met them like the month I graduated from college. And then from there, it just slowly started like a web. Just like I started meeting everybody that I know now.
Yeah, I mean, you're in LA visiting with Sean right now.
Yeah.
I remember like a couple of years ago, as you, Sean, and Luke came and stayed at the Karat house.
Yes, yeah.
So what was that moment? So first of all, how did you like actually meet Sean and Elliot? And second, what was the moment you're like, okay, like they're friends. They're not just randos or acquaintances even.
So I met Elliot through like there was like a Facebook group, Asian Creative Network. I didn't really watch vlogs at the time, so I didn't know his content, but I wanted to meet up to shoot. We did. And then like 2 weeks later, we went to an event. We saw Sean there. And I think right off the get-go, we just got along.
Yeah, that's kind
5
of
years later.
You actually get along. You're like, oh, cool. And we're trying to do similar things.
Exactly.
It's funny because I know like Sean and Elliot were also college vloggers at the time. And now all of you have graduated college.
Yeah, exactly.
How did you figure out the type of content that you wanted to do, especially because your life has changed so much?
Yeah. I started with a bunch of random videos. Like my first video was like, I'm going to play, my very first vlog where I talked to the camera was, I'm going to go to Washington Square Park and like challenge a hustler in chess. I didn't really understand like the demand on YouTube, like what people would want to watch on lifestyle. So I was just trying everything out.
Yeah.
To see what I would like. One of my first videos was going in Washington Square Park, like asking people, where's Guam? Like pointing on the map, I'll give you $100.
That's great.
It's just like, I would never do these videos now, but you don't know until...
Why would you not do them now?
I think it's just a little off brand from what I'm doing. Not that it's bad. but I think it'd be random and I don't think my regular viewers would watch a chess video or like interview about Guam type video, you know? I did a few lifestyle videos because at the time I discovered Casey Neistat and like, oh, people like this. All right, so I tried it out. I saw one video that did really well, Day in the Life of a Software Engineer.
Yeah, I saw that
This was 2019 and no one's really doing it. It's really popular now, but at the time there are only like 1 or 2 popping videos of that content.
Yeah.
I posted it when I had like 1,000 subscribers. In like 3 months, I had 15,000 subscribers.
Wow.
That video just like absolutely blew up. It has like almost 1 million right now. It's still my most viewed video on my channel, which is really funny, being like my 5th video ever.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So that's when I was like, whoa, like CS on YouTube is quite the niche. But I also knew that I didn't want to do only CS content because like I also thought ahead, like I can't just do coding content. I'm not even like, if I worked at Facebook, then maybe, but I felt like imposter syndrome. Like I'm not like a great coder, you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
So you're like, oh, people won't want to watch me just code.
More like I don't think I could give just like a catalog of videos of advice to these guys. Like I didn't, you know, if I went to Harvard or if I worked at Facebook or Meta, you know what I mean? Then I could have proper advice to give. But, you know, I was a pretty, I did the bare minimum in college, you know, at a 3.25 GPA CS. I was more so just work-life balance is more my thing, I think.
You still successfully got a job though, which I feel is like a really big deal, especially during like COVID era. What was that like when COVID struck? What was your mental health like? Like, what were you thinking about?
It was definitely like the worst ever. You know, like anxiety, all that stuff. COVID struck, everyone, all of my friends, and like I think like 25% of Manhattan evacuated, something like that.
That's insane.
And at the time, I didn't know anyone in New York. Like I had a tough first year. The whole year I was just doing my job and I just found it so boring. Like the life was just, this is not what I expected. Like the transition from college to postgrad. I don't know if you felt the same way, but the college to postgrad is quite the transition.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, for sure. So COVID struck. Some of my closest friends lived in LA at the time. And I was like, all right, I'll try LA as well. Because I was down to live in either city. Like, so when I moved to LA thinking it'll be better, I realized, I guess it was COVID lockdown.
So was it not better?
It was worse than what I was doing in New York. There was no like indoor dining, no outdoor dining. I still had a remote job and I can't go to cafe.
Oh no.
So I was in this apartment all day. You know, you don't really hang out with friends. There's like nothing to do with friends, you know? Hang out in parking lots. I guess you could do that. But like, even the beaches were closed, I think. Right. So I just remember like I'd go and log into chess.com. Like after work, I'll just lay down, watch Netflix. So that went on for like 6 months. Like that was probably the low point when it was like, man, this is an insane cycle. Like just because it's lockdown, I lived alone. That was also my first time living alone. So I think that even added on to the weight of it. So that was from like, let's say summer to December. And then at the time I had a 15,000 subscribed YouTube channel. No posts, obviously in COVID. What was I doing?
It's like watch me stagnate,
yeah, exactly.
watching Netflix.
I don't even leave my apartment.
But that's funny because a lot of creators popped off during COVID.
Right.
But you're a lifestyle creator. So you're like, my lifestyle is here I am.
Yeah. So when things started to slightly open up in December, so I was like, all right, January, I'm going to start posting weekly. I posted my first video like in the first week of January. And then I posted weekly since then. By August of that next year, I went full time. So it was like 7 months of just almost weekly videos.
You had what, like 70,000 subscribers?
Yeah, it was like a 77,000. I remember the number just because
nice.
It was a big moment.
That's not a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think I got lucky and I just, I think it's a lot of luck. That's what I'll say.
No, but the reason why I bring that up is I respect so much you had the testicular fortitude.
Yeah.
To be like, you know, this is risky, but I'm just going to go full time.
Yeah. So my parents had never really worked a job. I've always seen they've always had their own business. Even my mom had like a business where like she like got wines from the Philippines and delivered it to like the ABC stores in like Guam and Hawaii. So they were always, when I told them like, I think I want to just do like entrepreneurship, they're like, okay. Like they're like,
cool.
I'm also the youngest. I feel like I'm also like the only boy. They've always like let me do my own thing. I think. So I was supportive of my family, and my LA rent at the time was like $1,000. I was like, yeah, like I was already getting brand deals.
Like how much, when you quit, like how much were you making like full time, say on an annual basis from YouTube?
Like the software engineer job was pretty much just like straight 6 figures, like around like 100, right? So that's like software engineering,
which is fantastic.
Entry level,
100K.
Yeah. YouTube, I was starting to get brand deals that were around like a few thousand. Like it's like each brand deal at the time for like 3 months was like multiple rents. And I'm very much, I don't know, maybe it's because I grew up in Guam. Like I'm very much like, you know, if it works out, it works out. I can always get a job. I'll figure it out go with the flow.
Okay, so you're sitting here with $100,000 a year job, you like your YouTube channel, and it sounds like you're making like a few thousand from brand deals. Let's hear the thought process.
It sounds like, whoa, you just quit your job.
I mean, it does sound
But
like that. Yeah.
I think I had a big safety net and like, the support of my family.
Wow.
And I could have just applied to jobs. That's ultimately what I would have done.
So you had this security where you're like, hey, if this doesn't work out, I can just get another job. So why not take this bet on myself?
Exactly. I think I was in a between jobs phase and I grinded YouTube. Like I felt like I was working towards something that wasn't just like a day-to-day clocking out.
It's like, this might suck, but this is working. People are watching.
Right. And I guess just the idea of working on something that has the potential to exponentially grow. Like I clock in, I clock out, and then what? There's a quote. I don't know if this is too like Gary Vee style, but it's like, you either build your own dream or help somebody else build theirs. But I fully support working jobs. But for the record, I would get a job now.
Yeah, but you're saying for yourself personally, you went through a period where like, where's my labor going? Versus you're building something of your own. And you can see it's growing. People are watching.
Exactly.
I understand that you put in work to have the safety net. It's still wild to be like, cool, I got like one brand deal a month ago. Like, here we go, boys. Like, let's go.
I also had like brand deals planned out for the next 3 months as well.
Okay.
And that was already matching what I was getting.
How did you get this brand deal so early? Like, were you just hustling, reaching out?
I got lucky in the beginning. Like every 5 videos, what would be a CS video.
Yeah.
And it'll get like over 100,000 views. So, and my lifestyle vlogs.
You just know that stuff's going to do well.
And my lifestyle vlogs would be like, luckily I found that my audience ended up becoming like 75, 80% male. A lot of them wanted to like live a similar lifestyle, but they also really like to see what I did after work and like what I did in the weekends, because people in high school, college are like, what's my life going to be like?
Yeah, it's like when I graduate, what's my world outside of working?
Yeah, so they really wanted to see that. Regular vlogs were doing just slightly less than the CS. So it was going up. It was like CS, regular vlog, and slowly going up. And I was like, okay, like I think it'll be fine. Like the amount of people who told me that they majored in CS because of me, like it's probably over in the thousands. Like in New York, people come up to me like, I'm in like Columbia CS because of you. 2 guys came up to me. And I think that's the coolest thing. I think that's like the best like fruits of like my labor. Like that's sick.
I feel like you're the epitome of like the aspirational creator that if I'm like 18 to 24 years old and I'm just like, what is my life going to be?
Yeah.
I want to watch Jed. Because, your vlogs, you show your entire life. You're like, I wake up, I eat breakfast, I go to the gym, I'm going to go to work now.
Yeah, I think it's, I still find it such a weird world that people want to watch that. Like, I've still struggled to this day explaining it to like my dad, like the whole lifestyle niche.
So tell me a little bit what you're wearing right now. This is actually your own line of clothing.
Oh, nice.
Rule
Yes,
of thirds. This is the art of balance.
Rule of thirds.
What does rule of thirds mean?
Have you heard the term rule of thirds before?
Vaguely, but I don't know what it means.
So it's like, I guess it's in any type of art, but I first heard it from photography. It's like when you take a photo, you want to put the subject, or artists tend to put the subject in like, if there's a grid, like, the iPhone grid where it's like that.
Yeah.
You want to put your subject in one of the lines where they intersect, just in terms of like composition, visual balance. So it's rooted in photography, cinematography, which is what like it was why I went in video.
Yeah, it was your initial creative outlet.
Right. But there's also rule of thirds in like painting. But anyway, the art of balance. It's just a brand name.
Yeah. Well, it's got meaning behind it.
There is meaning,
started
I guess,
you in a way getting into YouTube.
The art of balance, work-life balance, life balance.
How's the personal relationship life looking right now?
Oh, I'm single. And just focusing on work. I'm focusing a lot on work these days.
Yeah.
Traveling these days a lot. I just came back from Japan and Korea.
Nice.
And
what took you out there?
I did a video. I surprised my friend Sean Rizwan.
Yeah.
He went to Japan and he kept asking me like, hey, Jed, do you want to come? I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, I don't know.
Right.
I never really wanderlusted. But then I was just like, then I had my New Year's resolution, like I'll make more videos. I'll start just like, having a good year. This would prompted me to go to Japan. Like at the end of 2023, I usually do a recap video of the year. I did one for 2021, 2022. And 2023 was the first time I didn't have anything to like recap on in terms of like making a nice video that was like, this is the best year of my life. And my new goal was to have a year 2024 that was recapable in that sense. So I just booked a ticket to Japan, surprised Sean. It was a great time, best trip ever.
When you talk about how when you're friends with creators, they end up showing a ton in your videos.
Yeah.
If you date someone, they become a part of your content, your life, your videos as well.
Yeah.
Has that happened before?
Yeah, I mean, I had an ex that was in a few videos, but I never was like a couple on camera. It was just more like we were around doing the same thing.
Oh, here's just a person
yeah.
happens to be a girl also
Yeah.
with me on camera.
But although a lot can change, but I don't think I'd ever like really milk relationship content. Unless views are really down, then I'm just kidding.
I love how, Jed, you're like, never. And then you're like, well, exceptions are always possible.
Yeah, I don't know. It's life always changes, you know? You never know.
How do you balance that with like the friendship side? Like if say you're really good friends with someone and look, I've been friends with my co-founder for over 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not happy with each other.
Yeah.
We're arguing with each other.
Yeah.
And it's weird because we're also co-founders. It's almost like too bad. You have to continue being friends.
Right.
How does that work with content?
So I was never in like a collective where like we share income or anything like that. Me and all our friends, we all very much have our own channels. So that's why the balance is whatever you want.
Would you ever do something like that and form a content house or a group?
I think it's great when you do it with I think it's fun.
Yeah.
Maybe now I'm a little more energized, but I also like living alone these days. So,
Dude, I like living alone too. When
Yeah.
you describe you like you have a studio, I'm like, that actually sounds so
no,
nice.
I enjoy living in a studio in Manhattan. It's been good.
When you think back now, this is your 5th year doing YouTube.
Yeah.
Now you're like over 200,000 subscribers. What do you think you're still trying to prove to yourself as a creator or even outside of that as an entrepreneur or just human
That's a good
being?
question. I could probably afford to think ahead a little better. I think I'm just going at it as like living life as it comes.
I think that's the way to do it. And I mean, you
Yeah.
already talked a little bit, at least on a yearly basis in your 2024 planning video, right? Where you talked about wanting to have half your income from things outside just YouTube, like wanting to get really in shape. Like you're doing all those things, you're executing on them, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm trying to prove anything to myself specifically.
Well, that means you're secure.
Oh.
That means you've reached a point where you're like, kind of like, actually, life is pretty good.
I think the biggest thing on my mind these days is just I really desire to have a consistent framework for content that and I think I'm still trying to figure that out. Just because lifestyle, I'm gonna make a little generalization about like guy vloggers versus female vloggers. I think it's a little harder to like keep guys entertained when most of your audience is guys. I feel like they would want something out of you, some type of value. I think Casey was the exception. Like it was such a spectacle that he did daily
vlogging. It was so different what he was doing, like cinematographic level quality on like a daily vlog basis.
But there are actually not that many male personality based vloggers.
Yeah, you're right.
Like compared to girls, it's just way different.
There's a lot more women.
Way more. Guys usually tend to go into idea based. They go into interviews, but it's hard to get like a group of like mostly guys just to watch what you want to do with their life. Maybe guys are more. They just don't talk as much, maybe. They don't want to hear a guy talk for like 10 minutes, right?
Guilty as charged. But yes, knowing that your audience is mostly guys and it's like hard to be a lifestyle vlogger with a male audience because they're often looking for something of value.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you almost fold that into a lifestyle vlogger framework?
Right. Like you would see more girl vloggers do trends like shopping haul or like just something I like.
Yeah, get ready with me.
Like nightly routine. I can do that sometimes.
I was gonna say, would you ever do a get ready with me?
Like I would do like my daily routine. Like I would hint at that. They would still watch it, but it's just like, even when I film what I eat in a day, it's like, do guys want to see this? They wanted to see it because I'm doing fitness stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I care about what you're eating because I want to know your macro breakdown, how many grams of protein you're getting in, and like how you're finding things that are still tasty.
But in terms of like what I spend in a day, like I feel like guys don't really care as much. So it's like, what content do you make? Because I don't know. I don't want to keep doing like what I spend in a day.
Right.
And that's why I kept going back into coding or fitness.
Yeah, for you, it's actually really hard because like ultimately you don't want to like do stuff that you don't want to shoot stuff that isn't reflective of your actual life.
Yeah.
And your actual life, you know, it sounds like every 6 months, every year you change it. Different seasons of Jed. But within those seasons, like it's kind of the same. It's like right now, like if I tune in and watch, it's probably going to be hanging out with friends, like what you're eating, like how you're getting buff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
You're not doing like crazy things.
Yeah. And there's also like currently no value. Like I've been doing this would be like my 4th travel video this year, like LA. I guess people like travel, but it's you'd also have to keep in mind that like you're not going to get new audiences from this. Like I can post an LA vlog and
it's
the people who have been watching
it's gonna be the
me,
same people.
Yeah, and that's also fine to me.
Yeah, I almost feel like you could. So you do a little of this in your rate my dorm videos, where you're almost teaching folks about entrepreneurship.
Yeah,
I almost feel like, okay, there are so many quote unquote thought leaders on YouTube who make content about like hustling and entrepreneurship.
Gurus.
Yeah, gurus, and like 50% of them just like absolutely suck. I feel like you could do that sort of stuff where that's. I mean, frankly, a lot of the questions I'm asking today in the pod are very much in the interest of like, how did Jed make these life decisions? Because they paid off really well. Like, how do you make smart bets and take risks on yourselves?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I guess it's like that topic is already hinted in my content.
Yeah.
But like unintentionally, like
implicitly.
People think of me so differently than what I think of myself, or what like I'll post a video that's just like a video by myself, skating around New York, talking about random stuff in my mind. And people will make a comment that's so profound on like, Jed, like I can tell you put in so much thought on what you said, and like they think I don't know, it's just coming out unintentionally.
They think you're big brain.
Yeah.
In a way that sort of, hey, I have figured out insights on how to live life and I can share them with you.
Yeah.
You're doing it like implicitly for your video. Sometimes intentionally, but sometimes you're just not.
I don't know if they're overthinking or if I'm just like low-key wise.
It kind of reminds me when you're like in high school and they're like, read like To Kill a Mockingbird. And it's like, what does like this character wore a red shirt on a Tuesday? Like, what does it mean? What does it symbolize?
Dude, sometimes comments are exactly like that.
It's like, Jed wore his hair differently today. What's
so
going
funny.
through his life?
Like I'll do one angle that, like I usually do like one shot per scene, and they'll be like, I can see why he framed it in that way. I'm like, oh, okay, that was
You're like, was I doing it because of that?
Like there was just a tripod there. That's why I did
Wait,
it.
that's kind of fun. Do you think you'd ever then lean into that more explicitly?
That's funny. Little Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so. Sometimes people come up to me and they'll be like, or they'll DM me like, I watch you when I want to feel productive. Like,
wow.
When I'm like, wow, I'm like, my productivity could use a lot of work. So it's crazy that you would watch me for that source of inspiration.
I think at the end of the day, like when you watch anything, like content is just an indirect way of, it's like talking to a friend. You learn something new. And when I watch you, it's like you're talking to me at a distance indirectly. And it's always going to be, ultimately, I think it's three things. It's like, I want to learn something.
Yeah.
I want to just like veg out.
Yeah.
Like I want to feel something. I want to be inspired.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's funny, you're describing like, oh, I'm just like walking around Union Square and people are like, I want to live my life to be more like Jed's.
Yeah,
that's kind of what you're conveying. Just by existing, by virtue of the decisions you've made to be you.
Yeah.
Dude, even I'm right now, I'm kind of like, man, I need to be less tied to external validation.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. I think that like part of me has a lot to do with like where I grew up.
Yeah.
Maybe like birth order, like being the youngest, and parents that like just, I guess they just supported if I wanted to quit my job.
It's because you have that self-confidence in yourself. A lot of people you watch on YouTube, it's because they wanted to be famous. They really wanted the views. That's why they're going out and making content, which is makes a lot of sense. You're interesting though, because that's not necessarily what you're chasing above everything else.
Right.
Most people who have your mentality probably wouldn't be making videos to put up on YouTube in the first place.
Interesting.
So if someone's watching you, they got to watch someone who's like sharing their lives, but isn't like view hungry.
Right.
Yeah.
This is something interesting as well. Like I don't see myself having a YouTube channel that has like 1 million subscribers. I almost think it's like that's not even my goal. Like I don't think I want to even get that big. I almost think it's like I would think it would be pretty narcissistic maybe of me to be like, my vlogs where I just talk to the camera and do my life deserves like 500,000 views per video. Like it's more of like a realistic overlook on like.
But see, ironically, that might be why more and more people watch you and you get to 1 million, because they'd be like, hey, this Jed guy, he doesn't give a if you watch him. That's why I'm gonna watch him.
That's funny. Like 2 years ago, I wrote down in a notebook like my goal for YouTube. Like I would be really happy with 100,000 views per video.
Yeah.
Like that would be my ultimate goal. And I think I'd be happy just cruising there and working on other stuff on top of that.
So when you hit, I know you mentioned 100,000 views per video. When you hit 100,000 subscribers,
right?
How did that feel?
I guess it was just so gradual. Like in 2021, I was getting like 5,000 to 7,000 subscribers per month. It was just very.
So you just kind of knew.
My views were only going up by like 3,000 on average per video. It was just very slow. So by the time it creeped up on me, it was just like nice. I was in the 90s for a while, you know.
Did you celebrate? Did you like do?
Yeah, I got balloons. My roommates did like a surprise for me.
Oh, that's nice.
It was nice to. It's nice to look back on. Yeah.
I feel like Jed, you represent a new type of creator.
Casual creator.
Oh, there you go, Colin Smear. Right, where I don't even know if I would call you a creator, almost more just creative.
Oh, I like that.
Right?
Maybe that's my goal.
Like that's just the natural course of your life just happens to be shared. And that's cool.
That's ultimately my goal.
Yeah.
Like I really enjoyed making videos like so much in college. Like that was really like my escape.
What's the last video that you just felt a lot of joy and happiness, or like craftsman's pride in making that?
The transformation video, 30 days. I purposely didn't put a brand deal on there because I didn't want to associate it like with a label of like this is sponsored.
Right. It's like, this is a huge change I made in my life. Grammarly can help you.
I still have to do that sometimes, but I have a backlog of sponsors that I've been needing to do. Like I posted so little in 2023 that I have like so many brands that I'm sorry, like give me a sec, like I'll do it in 2024. I had a transformation video that could do well, but I didn't want to put any ad on that video.
Yeah, because you didn't want there to be this thought or perspective like Jed made this video just for the views.
Right. But unfortunately, like because I posted so little that every video did have a brand deal, but that's just like full-time creator.
Well, like for example, I saw like the one you made about planning for 2024. You talked a lot about Notion,
right?
Where you're like, hey, like I'm figuring out my life and I figured it out using Notion. And how often is it like, okay, the brand deal fits into the video you already want to do versus you get the brand deal like, I need to think of an angle where this is organic and it actually relates to my life?
Most of the time, I just put it into a video. I think of the video first and I'll just put one of the brands in there. Usually it's rarely like super intertwined, but although naturally most companies that reach out to me are productivity.
Yeah, you have like Notion,
Grammarly,
LinkedIn, Grammarly.
Stuff like that.
Which is very smart.
Like Dropbox or something like that.
Yeah. I think my last question for you, Jed, is let's say we zoom out and we go 5 years into the future.
Yeah.
What do you want to be feeling?
Yeah, I guess this made me really think about what my goals are for YouTube then, because it's like, it's not really the views or the money, I guess. I guess I just want to be, this is why I keep moving cities. I think like you really enjoy a city and like your day-to-day life is really makes up of who you're hanging out with day-to-day and like your close friend group and who you're spending time with. And I think ultimately that's what I'd like to focus. That's what I want to be focusing on. A good circle. I think that's what I want to feel.
I love that.
Yeah.
Dude, thanks so much for making time.
No, thanks so much.
That's a wrap, my boy.
Great talking to you. Awesome.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.